A trick of the eyes. Just a flame. "I pray that was a prayer you just uttered." The old man's tone was uneasy, and he fidgeted with his hands as he spoke. Aldous remembered his first sight of Father Riker, straight-backed, stern, forbidding. He had changed over the years. Every day he seemed to lose a bit of the power he once had. His cheeks had grown hollow, and the loose skin of his jowls sagged. His back hunched, and his shoulders caved forward. He muttered to himself and darted glances at the shadows. He was melting day by day, in sanity and in flesh. "Oh, it was, Father Riker. It was certainly a prayer," Aldous replied, trying to sound as he thought a pious lad should sound. "To our great God of light, I do hope so." Father made the symbol of the luminescent, closing his eyes and tilting his head upward ever so slightly, and opening his palms to the heavens the way one would embrace the warmth of the sun. "Of course, Father Riker, for there is no other god to pray to." Aldous mirrored the gesture Riker had just made, all the while wondering what sunlight Father hoped to find in this dark basement. Father Riker grumbled and walked forward to Aldous' desk so he could inspect the amount of scripture he had copied over the day and evening. Aldous was not sure of the hour, but it was most certainly late, for every other brother had long since been off to their evening prayers and then to bed. Only he and Riker were still awake. Aldous had not copied much. He accomplished less and less each day, for he was growing restless, and in the few hours he slept he was haunted by dreams, running from the howling wolves, hiding from the always watching ravens. He was done being in this church basement, done copying out this indoctrinating drivel called Scripture. There had been a time, not right in the beginning, but with the passage of months and years, a time where he found solace in the copying of the words, for the mundane repetition helped him take his mind from all his anger and rage. It helped cool the smoldering fire that was his soul. That time was gone, and again the fire was rising. He did not know what he needed, but it was something other than this basement and the scratching of mindless words on parchment. Alas, there was nowhere to go. Leaving the church would mean he too would be labeled a sorcerer and suffer the same fate as his father, the same fate as his own discarded pages. Aldous pressed the fingertips of his right hand hard into the table as he dragged his left thumbnail on the scarred edge of his desk. "Leave me alone." Father Riker remained. He dragged his thumb with greater agitation, and a sharp pain bloomed. He had torn the nail so far down it drew blood. Anger surged, at Father Riker, at himself. Heat bit at him, deep in his belly, then his chest, and his hands. The surface beneath his fingers grew hot, and he jerked his fingertips away from the table. There were 4 marks, singed in the wood. Something flared in him as he stared at the strange marks, a sharp flicker that burgeoned and grew. Aldous stood and turned around to look at Father Riker, knowing he did not want the man to see the singe marks on the desk.